Welcome to Cavaletto Studios. I'm Chris. The foam roller is a great tool to release tension and find relief. Today we will use the foam roller and 2 tennis balls to help target those areas that affect the low back. So grab your mat, foam roller, and 2 tennis balls and let's get started. We're going to begin with our glutes. So you're going to sit up on the roller. We're going to start on the right side. So feet are flat, knees bent. Reach your right hand behind you. So you can use that for support and control. And then you're going to roll to the top and to the bottom of the glutes. All the way. Checking in, do you have any speed bumps, any tender spots? Little trigger points. Then you're going to take your right ankle and cross it over your left thigh, and we're going to roll some more to the top and the bottom. If you find a trigger point, just pause on it and bring that knee up and down. Massaging out that trigger point, and then all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom, continuing, maybe opening the knee a little wider as you roll, trying to get down into the sits bones, and then back. One more. And then release. Now we're going to take that right foot off, and we're going to switch sides. So you just tilt over and lean onto your left butt cheek, bring your left hand behind you, feet flat, and roll to the top and the bottom of that glute. And just noticing the difference on this side compared to the other side. Might find more little trigger points there. You're going to take the left ankle and cross it over the right thigh and move to the top and the bottom of that glute with that foam roller. Open up the knee a little wider. So as we loosen up the glutes and the hips, we're going to work the quads as well. Everything that attaches to that low back, even the upper back, just to loosen things up so we can move better and not have as much tension in our low back. One more roll. Then you're going to release and you're going to slide off of your roller. You can leave it behind you and you're going to get your 2 tennis balls. So you're going to take your 2 tennis balls and you're going to lay back onto the floor and bring your head onto the roller like a pillow. So you have some support. If you prefer to have your head on the floor, that's totally fine. Your knees are bent, feet flat. Now you're going to take your 2 tennis balls and you're going to have them stacked longwise, and they're going to go longwise also. I want you to find your hip, the top of that hip bone, and then put them on the you're in the glute right by that hip, and you're going to put it towards the outer back edge of that glute and then draw your body onto it, either side, because we're going to do both. Good. So you're just leaning into those 2 tennis balls. So they're stacked under that glute on the side there, right below that hip. Now you're going to draw the knee open, whatever side you're leaning on. And then I want you to lift that foot off the floor, hold it there, and then lower it back down and completely relax the glute onto those tennis balls. Now we're going to do that 4 more times. Lift the leg because it makes your glute contract a bit, and then lower back down. We get 2 more times. You're going to lift. So if you have any tension in those glutes, you might feel it. Adjust them if you need to and lower back down. Totally relax. Let that leg fall open. And 1 more time, lift. Hold it. Maybe contract the glute a little more and then relax it down. Now, make an adjustment. Maybe slide your body forward so they move up a little higher towards that hip. towards the top of the glute as well. Now you're going to lift the leg again. Keep the knee open so you really feel that, and then lower back down. Anybody notice a difference as you move those tennis balls? You might find a little more intensity. Lift, and then lower that leg. And 2 more times. Lift, lower that leg. You have 1 more time. Make adjustments. Move those tennis balls if needed. Lift, and lower back down. Now you're going to lift up that leg you were just lifting. You're going to pull it into the chest and then pull it across the body the opposite way. Straighten out your other leg. So I'm holding my left leg and I'm straightening my right because I was just using those tennis balls on that left glute. Then you're going to release the foot, both feet back on the floor, release the tennis balls, and let's move them to the other side. So you're going to, again, use the pillow, the roller as a pillow, and just stack those tennis balls. Move them into the glute on the outer edge there so you can lean into it, into those. And then you're going to lift the leg on the side that you're leaning on. And notice the difference. The glute automatically has to work to lift that leg and then let it down to relax. And then lift it again. And let it go down and relax. Totally relax it over those tennis balls. Just feel the tennis balls melting into your body, and then lift that leg again. Keeping the knee open. And then lower back down, try to relax. And lift last time. Find your breath and lower. Now you're going to slide yourself forward so the tennis balls go up. Make adjustments just a little bit, and maybe to the outside edge, depending on how you feel. Lift that leg and hold, and then relax. Lift and hold. So if we release some of that tension, our hip moves better. Release. Again, move that tennis ball if needed. Lift and hold. I find that if I go more with the tennis balls to the outside, it's a little more intense. And relax. Last one, lift. And relax. Let that leg just relax over the tennis balls. Then you're going to lift that leg 1 more time and hug it into your chest. Straighten the opposite leg. And then pull that leg across the body. Just giving that glute a nice stretch. And then you're going to release the leg, take the tennis balls out of your way, and then you're going to roll yourself all the way up, sitting up nice and tall. So we really rolled those glutes, so we want to make sure we stretch them out. So you're going to pull the right leg across the left thigh, hug that right knee into the chest with the left arm. Right arm can be behind you. Option is to pull your left foot toward your right glute. If it doesn't go that way, then just keep it straight. Lengthen through the spine and just really feel that nice stretch in the glute. Might feel a little stretch going up into that low back. We're going to get deeper into that low back as well, but later on. Now we're going to release that leg, unwind, and we're going to go to the other side. So now you're going to hug the left knee in, wrap your right arm around, left arm behind you, lift and twist. You can also pull your right foot towards your glute or leave it straight. And just lengthen through the spine. Find your breath. Notice the difference on this side. One more breath. And then you're going to unwind and release. Now we're just going to turn over and we're going to go to quad. So turn on over and go into a plank. So now you're in an elbow plank and that roller is right above your knees and making sure it's not hitting the kneecaps. And then using your hands on the floor, elbows on the floor, push yourself forward and back 1 inch. just an inch. And just notice what's going on in those thighs. Then you're going to walk your elbows back an inch and continue rolling forward and back an inch. Massaging out those quadriceps. They attach around the knees, they attach up into the hips. When they get tight, they can pull our hips out of alignment and affect our low back. Keep walking those elbows back as that roller moves up the thigh. So getting both quadriceps, both thighs. Notice if you're leaning more to one side or the other. Keep walking it back. As you get to the top of the quads, it might get a little tender. You might find some spots. Now when you do get to the top, what we're going to do is we're going to bend our knees, pull the feet up to the sky, and then use the hands flat on the floor to gently walk yourself forward so that roller moves back down the thighs towards the top of the knees. And then just draw your legs side to side, massaging the top of those quads, and then continue to move your body backwards as you rock. If you find a knot or a tender spot, you can always straighten and bend whatever leg it is where you found that knot. Otherwise, continue just to rock. Maybe you want to try to straighten and bend those legs. It does make it a little bit more intense, but as we loosen those quads, we relieve a little back stress as well. So side to side with those legs as you move that roller down or up the quads. No, we're moving down. We're moving down those quads, side to side, till you get back towards the knees. And then you're going to straighten the legs again. This time I want you to very gently walk your arms backwards, super slow. And just notice what you feel. Kind of like mushing things out. Move it all the way up the thigh, nice and slow. Now when you get to the top of the thigh, we're actually going to slide off the back of the roller. Bring your knees apart, feet together, and let's stretch it out. Bring the roller in front of you and just stretch the belly down between the thighs, forehead to the mat. Take a deep breath in. This is actually really good stretch for that low back as well. Stretching those quads over the knees. And then when we come back up, we're going to go back to those quads one more time. Because we want to get nice and deep into them just like we did the glutes, but we're going to continue to use that roller. So I want you to bring those legs all the way together. So usually when we get tight, it's on the outer edges of the quadriceps. So you're going to take your left ankle and cross it over your right and tilt your whole body just slightly to the right, and then start to move yourself forward and back 1 inch. So you're now on the front outer right edge of that quadricep. So it can be a little tender here. Walk the elbows back, continue moving that roller up the thigh. And walk the elbows back a little further, continue moving forward and back 1 inch. Massaging out any areas that are really tight. Forward and back, another inch, walk it back. And if you're right dominant, it might be a little more sensitive here on that right leg. Especially as you get up towards the big meaty part of the quad, it can get really tight. Keep on going as high as you comfortably can. Everybody has different leg lengths. So if you're already at the top, just focus on rolling the very top of that quad. Now while you're up here at the top of the quad, uncross that left ankle and then just bend and straighten the right leg. You're still leaning mostly to the right, but I just want you to bend and straighten. Notice if you feel the knee start to draw circles with that right leg. Notice where you're feeling it. Change direction, circle the leg the opposite way, massaging out any tension. And keeping your body slightly to the right, walk your hands forward and gently draw the body forward. So the roller goes back to the knees. Draw your legs all the way back together. Cross your right ankle over your left and tilt your body slightly to the left. And then roll your body forward and back 1 inch. And just notice the difference on this side. See if you can relax a little. And then walk it back a little more. Relaxing those shoulders. Let's pull them away from the ears. Finding your breath. Sometimes when we have pain or we're just intense on something, we tend to hold our breath. So trying to relax. Walk the elbows back again. Forward and back. And you might be feeling those quads. If you have knee issues, you might find one leg more tender than the other, especially on the side that you have knee issues. If that quad's tight, it can cause all kinds of issues with the knees and those hips, even that low back. So that's why we are digging deep into those quads. Keep on going towards the top of that thigh, as high as you comfortably can go. Now when you get to the top, find that pretty much middle of the road, top of that quad, uncross your right leg and then bend and straighten that left leg. Then bend it and then start to draw circles. And again, one side might be easier than the other. And then change direction. And then release that leg to the floor and then slide. Actually, we need to go back forward. So keep the body slightly to the left. Slightly to the left, bring the hands to the floor and draw your body all the way forward so you go back to the top of the knees. And then level out your body so it's even. Take your legs nice and wide. Bend those knees. Bring the feet together. And then just gently roll yourself backwards and forwards, getting a different area of those quads. So maybe 3 or 4 times, rolling to the top and the bottom of those quads. And then after your 4th time, just roll your body backwards, release the feet, and we're going to slide off the back of that roller and find a child's pose. So knees apart, feet together, and then reach that roller forward and melt into it. Stretch the back again. Find your breath. Notice where there's any tension. Now you're going to come all the way up, and we're going to move that foam roller to the side. And we're going to lay onto our bellies, all the way down to the belly. Good. Bring your left hand under your chin and reach your right hand behind you. Bend your right knee and grab hold of your right foot. You can also use a strap, a belt, a towel. If you cannot reach your foot, lay on your left side, and bring your right leg behind you. And push that hip. So you really want to stretch through that quadricep. Or maybe you grab the foot when you lay on your side. Just stretching out that quad. Maybe bringing the knees a little bit more together. Maybe flexing the foot if you can. And then point it again. Maybe lifting the knee off the floor a little bit. Getting a little extra stretch in that hip flexor. And then we're going to release that right leg, bring it to the floor, switch hands, reach back, grab hold of your left foot, right hand is under the chin. And again, same thing, if you can't quite get your foot, lay on your right side and bring the leg behind you and have that hip push forward. You want to stretch that quad up through that hip. Maybe bring the knees together. You can also try to flex that ankle. Feel that nice juicy stretch in the quad. It feels so good. Maybe point again, lifting the hip off, the knee off the floor. Find your breath. And then you're going to release that leg. We're going to press ourselves up. Take one more child's pose. Just stretch out the back, stretch out the quads. It should feel maybe a little better now. A little shift side to side. And then come up. Now we're going to transition and go to upper back now. So you're going to turn around, lean back, so the upper back is on that roller. Making sure you hold on to your head to support your neck. First thing we're going to do is find the middle of those shoulder blades, hips on the floor, making sure you're not overarching in that back, but just check out your range of motion, opening up the chest, finding your breath. Now you're going to pull your elbows in above your forehead and tuck your chin slightly so your fingertips are behind your head. Lift your hips off the floor, and then you're going to roll the upper back only, not the low back, just the upper back. So you're going to feel the muscles come out along the spine as we roll. You might get a natural chiropractic adjustment. Now find the top of those shoulder blades and then lower those hips gently to the floor and open up those elbows. Feeling that nice, beautiful, wonderful stretch of the chest wall. Now we're going to go a little deeper here. You're going to slide your body up so the roller is more towards the middle, lower end of those shoulder blades. So when you roll to your right side, the armpit is not touching that roller. It's a little above it, so there's actually some space there. And then you're going to rock in towards your chest wall. If you're missing lymph nodes, stay back here in the shoulder blade and just move up and down. Otherwise, you can rock, you can drop your knees onto the floor, stack your hips, and then roll backwards towards that shoulder blade. So when you roll forward, you're right about like below that armpit area. So we're getting into the lat, the latissimus dorsi in the very back there, the lat muscle. One more roll. Now you're going to roll backwards onto that shoulder blade. So we want to get a little more of that connective tissue that inhibits our movement. So I want you to bring the elbow right on top of that roller. Make sure it's not hanging off the front or the back. It's directly in the middle. Elbows bent. And then turn your body again. Keep it on the side of the right hip. And draw your chest towards that bent elbow on the roller. And then bring that right hand, drop it backwards so the back of the hand goes to the floor. Bring it up, draw it forward. Maybe you find a spot, maybe you don't, especially when that hand comes up right behind that shoulder. You can also straighten and bend the arm, or rotate it. One more, or straighten and bend. Make adjustments so you can feel where you need to release that tension. We're going to rotate back onto our upper backs, bring the fingertips behind the ears and the hips back on the floor. Find the middle of the shoulder blades and see if you can curve the body over that roller. You're going to keep the elbows wide, lift the hips, and use the feet to this time roll your back again, this time with the arms wide. And just notice what you're feeling. One more roll. Again, just staying in the upper back, and then we're going to lower, stay onto the middle of the shoulder blades, and then lower the hips. And now we're going to switch sides. So from here, you're going to drop onto the left hips. Make sure you are above. That armpit is above the roller, not touching it. You're going to rock into that shoulder blade on the left and then rock towards the chest wall. Same thing goes here. If you're missing lymph nodes, just stay back here in that shoulder blade. So just rocking and rolling, getting the side of the body, not putting too much pressure. You want to keep those hips on the floor as you rock side to side. Don't pop a rib or anything. That would not be good. Notice if you have any trigger points, some tender spots. You might have less on the left side compared to the right because we use the mouse with our right hand normally with a computer, and it can affect the upper back. One more. Now from here we're going to lean backwards towards our shoulder blade, slide the body down so you can bring that left elbow directly on top of the roller. And then you're going to rotate the palm backwards and forward, getting a little movement through the shoulder. If you need to hold your head, you can. Don't want any stress in the neck. You can also straighten and bend. Make adjustments. You don't want your elbow behind that roller or in front. You want it right on top. And as long as you're not leaning back, lean forward so you can feel the back of that shoulder blade. Or right on top of that shoulder as well. One more. Then we're going to come all the way towards the back again. Fingertips wide. Bring your feet in close, lift the hips, and gently roll the back again. Making sure you're not going too low into the low back. Last one, and then you're going to roll a little bit lower on those shoulder blades so you can drop the hips. Push your forearms into the roller, and then sit yourself all the way up. Slide both hands underneath the knees, and you can make a fist or interlace the fingers. And then draw the chin down as you walk the legs forward, stretching out to the top of the neck and the upper back. As you round into it, feel the body pulling backwards, the arms resisting, stretching things out. And then release nice and tall. A couple shoulder rolls, going across your feet, across your legs. If that feels okay to you, big shoulder roll. Now we want to stretch out our upper back a little bit more before we get into that low back. So we're going to move that roller again out of the way, and let's come to a tabletop position. And you want to stretch out the upper back. So you're going to take your right palm under your left, and you're just going to lower that shoulder all the way to the floor and wiggle the fingers. If it's very challenging to get to the floor, you can always place your arm on top of that roller and just stretch it that way. So you're getting a little bit of a back stretch, and you are also stretching out the upper back on the right. One more breath. And then you're going to bring in your left hand, and we're going to switch sides and try the other side and pause. And you can wiggle the fingers of the left hand. Same thing, you can also use the roller for the shoulder if it's hard to get that shoulder to the floor. And then bring your right hand in close to your head, and then come all the way back up. Moving on. So we're going to get our 2 tennis balls now, and we're going to work on our low back to finish up. And then some final stretches. So you're going to have your 2 tennis balls, and we're going to do them stacked again, just like we did on the glutes, but now we're moving upward into that low back. So where your spine is, nothing's going to be touching the spine. So you're going to find that the soft area right next to it with the tennis balls stacked above that hip, and then you're going to lay onto your back with those 2 tennis balls there. Now, if you have a very narrow torso and you're hitting the ribs, go to 1 tennis ball. That's an option. You can also use the roller as a pillow for your head if it's hard to get your head on the floor. And then you're just going to drop that. I have them on the right side, so I'm dropping the right knee open and then bringing it back up. So the body is gently rocking on and off of those tennis balls, side to side. If it causes a shooting pain, your tennis balls are in the wrong place, you need to make an adjustment, because you want to be able to just gently rock on and off and just feel them kind of like a massage, getting a little pressure there, loosening things up. One more, and then just hold it there, just a little bit of pressure, not a lot, and then come off. You're going to roll over to the left slightly so you can move the tennis balls. So instead of being stacked, they're now side by side. And again, not touching the vertebrae. And you're going to still drop onto the right side and off the right side. So it's going to feel a little different. So if you went to 1 tennis ball, you can realign and put the 2 side by side. So again, loosening things up. Make adjustments if you need to. You can always move the tennis balls a little lower, get them closer to that hip bone, or down closer into that lower back. And just notice what you're feeling. So you're going to lean a little bit to the right, and then try to straighten your right leg, and then bend it. If this causes extreme pain, I don't want you to go there, just ease off. Sometimes we're really tight in the QL. One more, pull that knee in, and then come off of those tennis balls. You're just going to place them on the left side. Don't go onto them yet, because I want you to hug your knees into your chest, release any tension, maybe a little rock side to side. And then we're going to release, and we're going to go to the left side. So you're going to, again, stack those tennis balls, lean slightly to your right as you place them right above that hip bone, but not on the spine. It's more in the soft part of the low back. And then drop that left knee as you rock and roll onto the tennis balls and back off. On and off. And again, same thing. If you're real narrow and you feel like you're just in the rib cage and just nothing feels good, go to 1 tennis ball, or racquetball, or tune-up ball, whatever it is that you are using. One more rock. Now we're going to switch the tennis balls. You're going to turn them so they're side by side. Again, not touching the spine, but they're in that low back, and you're going to rock on and off. Making sure you're low enough that you're not putting pressure. You don't want any pain. You do have all your vital organs right below that rib cage there. Be mindful of what you are rolling on and off of. And you might notice that one side is more tender than the other. We're getting into what they call the QL, quadratus lumborum, that low back muscle. It gets so tight. Especially, I feel it. I don't know about you, but most people I talk to, it gets pretty tight. Drop that left knee open slightly, and then drag that leg straighten and bend. And just notice the difference on this side. Two more times, straightening and bending. If that is uncomfortable, then don't do that. And then a couple rocks side to side. And then slowly release. Take those tennis balls away. Go ahead and place them to the side and hug the knees into the chest. Give it a rock side to side. We have one final stretch just to stretch that low back, the area we just rolled. So you can roll to your side or you can roll all the way up. So you're going to sit nice and tall, crossing those legs. You can sit on a blanket too or a pillow if that's more comfortable. So we're going to start out with the right leg in front, lengthen through the spine. Now you're going to take both hands and place your right hand to the right, on kind of next to your thigh, left hand in front of your right knee. Rotate your body so the chest is going towards your right knee, and then just start to lean into it. So you're probably going to feel that opposite side, that left side. Maybe trying to get your elbows towards the floor. It's optional. Maybe your head can draw towards your knee. Try to keep your left hip and knee down towards the floor. Now you're slowly going to lift up and walk through the center. Be nice and mindful and purposeful of your movements. Place your left hand on the outside of your left thigh, right hand by your left knee. Rotate the body towards that left knee and melt into it. Again, keeping the hip down on the right side. You might feel a pulling on the right side. Never force that stretch at all. Finding your breath. One more breath. And then you're going to walk through the center, align your spine, and then sit up nice and tall. Now we're going to switch legs. So bring your left leg in front, lengthen through the spine. This time we're going to go to the left side. So same move, and it's going to feel a little different with the legs crossed this way. You might notice a little more tension in the right side, maybe a little less. Everybody's different. Just notice what's going on. One more breath. Now we're going to straighten up and start to walk through the center all the way to the right. Go nice and slow. Start to rotate your upper body towards the knee and then melt those arms down on either side of your leg. Again, keeping the opposite side down. Try not to let the leg come up. Now we're going to slowly lift all the way up back to center, align the spine, bring the hands behind the back, open up the chest slightly, pull the belly in, look up, take a deep breath in, and then exhale, release back to a neutral spine, and then twist, lengthen through the spine and twist to the right. Use your left hand on the right thigh. And then very slowly rotate all the way to the other side, lengthening. And then back to center. Go and bring the knees together, give them a hug. Draw your chin to your chest, nice little rounding through the back. Finding your breath. And then you release your hands and then cross those legs again. Whichever way feels comfortable to you, lengthen through the spine. Pull the ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. A gentle lean to the left. And then sit up tall. And a gentle lean to the right. And just notice what you're feeling. We're just stretching a little bit in the mid-torso area as well. And then back to center. Take a deep breath in, reach those arms overhead. Exhale, palms to heart space. Hopefully your back feels a little more renewed and refreshed. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.